What's going on, boys? It's Keg and Coop back with another NASCAR Cup Series video breakdown. Talk about pre-race betting and what we plan to do live, if anything. Obviously, as always, I got my guy Coop. And it's NASCAR at another road track this week. We're at Road America for the Kwik Trip 250. So what's going on, my friend?
Well, not much, man. Been a tough start to the weekend. I looked at Cole Custer, Ty Gibbs quite a bit yesterday, and told myself quite a bit he had the best, car, and never did anything about it. So that was frustrating. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But when you see stuff like that, for whatever reason, sometimes you just don't pull the trigger. Even though you heavily feel that way. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, so I wrote in the Discord that if I was going to give something out pre-race, it would be Gibbs plus 550. But Larson laid down a wicked lap in qualifying. He was plus 160. I'm going to wait. I waited, and by the time I realized that I was right from pre-race, he was already like plus 250. And I was like, I am not doing it at plus 250 when I should have been on it at 550. So I ended up betting nothing in the race. And I almost bet the top three, but I wanted plus 140, not plus 120. But it is what it is. I mean, I didn't lose anything, but I should have won like 7 units yesterday. Cost myself money by not pulling the trigger. But it is what it is. On to today, my guy. All right, so we're going to be in the thick of it with road races for a little bit. We have a couple. One of them is today, right? Road America. It's about about a 4-mile track, somewhere around there. And I read a couple articles, and it seems like I wish that they had gone to Watkins Glen already, because I heard drivers comparing this track to Watkins Glen. Do you agree with that?
Have not heard that. I mean, really haven't heard much comparison as to what, road course they feel it compares to the most. I know Kyle Busch, when they were at Sonoma, said that he felt that COTA was more comparable to Road America than what Sonoma was.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the race. Going into the week, right, I expected Hendrick Motorsports to struggle based on what we saw from them at Sonoma, right? They had 2 cars in the top 10 in speed, and it was Elliott and Larson, and I think Larson was like 10th, just in the top 10. But they didn't have a car that finished in the top 8 at Sonoma. So I thought that they would struggle a little bit in practice and qualifying. But, I mean, Chase Elliott's been the best on road courses by far this year for Hendrick. He's looked the best, I think. But, he looked really good, at least in qualifying, right? In practice, I thought that him and Larson didn't look bad, but they did put down a really fast lap in qualifying. We have no idea how they'll look on the long run or anything like that. But I was a little surprised how strong they were based on where I thought Hendrick would be going into the race. What were your thoughts?
I didn't think they were going to be horrible by any means.
Right.
But
did you think Elliott would have the pole though?
I mean, he put down a fast lap. I don't think he has I think he has a top 5 car. That's about it. So I think their 1 lap qualifying was much better than what I think they're going to race today.
Yeah.
Elliott said on Monday after his win last week that their road course program just isn't what it was with the old car. The old car, they found something and it worked extremely good. And they've yet to find that with the new car. So, he put down a good lap. But, he wasn't good in, the practice And then, the first part of qualifying, he was solid. And then, he put down a great lap. So I think he has a top 5 car.
What do you think about Kyle Larson?
Same.
Yeah. That's basically where I'm at. But I didn't think that Elliott would be like, he could contend for a win here, and I thought that like he probably had top 5 upside going into the week, maybe not the win, you know what I mean? But so also going into the week, you sent me a message like early in the week on Monday that was like, take a look at the data on Suarez on road tracks. I think he's been the best car this year on road tracks. And I went and looked, and it was hard to argue. He's definitely looked solid and has speed on road tracks this year for sure, right? And we figured if he was going to be, if we thought what he would do in practice and qualifying, he would probably be in that 9-1 range going into the race. But he laid an egg, at least. Like, I don't even think that it's hard to tell exactly how good you thought that he was in practice. I thought that he looked good, but he laid a stinker in qualifying. Now we know Trackhouse has won the first 2 road courses of the year, right? Chastain grabbed one, Suarez grabbed the other, and I thought both of them were live to win the race, obviously, and I'm sure you did as well going into the week. But they laid a dud in qualifying, and I said to you, I had only watched qualifying with one eye with all the UFC 276 prep, and you said brakes and tires. So do you think they just had a bad set of tires and problems with the brakes? Did you hear that?
I mean, Chastain had issues with his brakes. That's not what I was referring to. I was just referring to in general. There were a lot of cars that had problems with brakes. Brakes are going to be a big issue today. Don't know how it's going to play out, but we saw Cole Custer, yesterday at the end of the race lose his brakes. So, and then tires. This is a road course that eats them up. Kozlowski said on the TV, this track actually eats tires worse than Darlington. So, we'll have to wait and see how all that plays out, too. But I think that Suarez and Chastain are going to be just fine. I think they have better, longer run speed than what they were showing. I mean, you really can't pay attention, to the practice speeds for drivers that necessarily didn't do great. Because, I mean, if you look at the practice speeds, if you look at overall speed, you know who had the worst overall speed?
No.
Chris Buescher. I mean, he was just out there fucking around, in practice. So, you don't know what their, intent is, what they're doing, so on and so forth. So, the speeds that were like, slower, I take as half a grain of salt, like Kevin Harvick, he was fast the last 2 races, Sonoma and then in Nashville. And he comes out and lays a dud, but, his teammate, Briscoe and Custer were very good. And, you can't really say much about him, or only sucks on road courses to begin with. So, possibly they were trying something different in Kevin Harvick's car, but I think, he'll be fine. So, there's just all kinds of different, things going on. They're running 4 laps, 5 laps, some up to 8. You really can't tell.
Yeah. So Toyota, right? Coda didn't have a Toyota in the top 13 in green flag speed. Sonoma wasn't much different. Didn't have a car in the top 11 in green flag speed. So going into the week, I expected Gibbs to struggle. I would assume you did too. And they looked pretty bad in practice and qualifying. So it feels like, judging from what we've seen, it's going to be like a Chevy or Ford day today. I don't really think that Toyota's going to be competitive. Do you?
I do not believe they'll be competitive. I think they'll race for stage points. I think they'll race for strategy. But when it all boils down to it, speed is trumping strategy in these first two road courses. If you look at Sonoma, of the top 9 drivers, they had the 10 fastest green flag speeds. And then if you look at Coda, it was very similar, except, AJ Allmendinger had a bad finish, but he was in the top 3 until the last turn of the race. And then Suarez, finished 24th, and he had top 10 speed, and he had power steering issue at Coda. So speed is trumping strategy, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think about pit strategy this week? Do you think that you have to pit before stage 1 if you want to win the race?
I think it's in your best interest. I think there might be a couple cars that could probably drive through the field, depending upon how deep it is that they're back.
Who, the Trackhouse Chevys?
Yeah, in Briscoe. But I don't think, it's smart to do that. The whole road course piece just comes down to when you pit and when the yellow flags fall. And hopefully you're in the right,
because you got to think. I was thinking about this when I was watching the race, the Xfinity race, and just thinking about today. If there are going to be cars that pit before stage 1 ends, okay? So if you pit on that caution going into stage 2, you're going to have to drive through the field in order to win the race.
But you can drive through the field if you have a fast car.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Look at what AJ Allmendinger's done.
I don't disagree.
Xfinity and
I don't disagree.
Like that.
I don't disagree because
top cars, like at an oval, like there's not a lot of difference between, let's say, like the first place and the 5th place car, and then like the 15th to 20th place car. On this road course, there's a huge difference. Like we're talking like a second to a second and a half.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I think that there will be lesser cars than we think, though, Coop, that will be able to do it. I think maybe 5 cars in this race could drive through the field.
Definitely, there's not a lot.
Yeah, and win the race. Outside of that, I don't see it. Like, I agree with you. I think Briscoe is going to be good today. You know what's interesting enough? You sent me a message. You start your NASCAR research on like Monday. I didn't even get done with UFC 276 till like Friday, and I started Monday night. So I'm always behind the 8 ball. And you sent me a message and asked me what you thought about Chris Buescher and Michael McDowell. And I said, I haven't got there yet, but I'll let you know. So Buescher finished 2nd, right? And he had the best green flag speed at Sonoma. But at Coda, he struggled. He finished 21st. He was basically 20th in speed. So there have been mixed results there, but basically where his speed is, it has been where he's finished. McDowell was
throw away Coda.
Why?
Because they went to Watkins Glen and did a tire test, and they found what they needed, and that's what succeeded for them at Sonoma. They found something in their car that made it work. So I'm not even worried about how he did at Coda.
All right, so McDowell was third in speed at Sonoma. He finished third. He didn't have any speed. He was 31st fastest. Although he made the best of it, finished 13th at Coda. Now, I mean, I don't know. They qualified sixth and seventh. I thought they both looked pretty good. To be honest, I mean, I think that they had top 10, like top. Actually, Chris Buescher probably could be competitive to win the race if
I
at
think
all.
McDowell's is competitive, if not more.
So, I mean, what their prices you would think have to be pretty solid, right? To top 10 and top 5.
Yeah, I mean, they're the only book that has left numbers on them for top 10 is FanDuel.
They're
But
plus
top five,
260.
they're out there. Yeah, but they
Yeah,
were over 500 before. Like, I don't know if I want to get into that now. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. They're plus 260 now to finish in the top 5.
Like
Yeah. So
McDowell has raced here before quite a bit, in the Xfinity, and he's won here before. So I kind of give the driving piece an advantage to McDowell, but the car piece, Buescher might have a little bit of advantage. But
so
I think they're every bit as good as Elliott and Larson, if not better.
yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. All right, let's talk about Penske. All three cars look great at Coda, right? They all finished in the top 11. Cindric and Blaney look good at Sonoma, better than Logano. So the three cars looked okay in practice, but Cindric qualified in the top 5, right? I expect him to be strong probably all day. Blaney laid a pretty average lap down in qualifying, but I mean, he's probably going to be, solid all day. What do you think about Penske? I would say I would rank Logano last of the three. Where are you at?
Yeah, but I mean, that's nothing against Joey. Joey does very good on these road courses. He's very good at playing the strategy game and
Right.
getting it to work for him and putting his car in a much better finishing position than what it usually is speed-wise. My one concern with Blaney is he struggles on managing tires on ovals like Darlington and places like that haven't been very kind to him. So that has me a little bit worried about him today. And then Cindric, I think Cindric, is probably a top 5 car, just as good as Elliott and McDowell, Buescher, and Larson.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Tyler Reddick, I wanted to bring him up too. So he wasn't even in the top 23 in speed at Sonoma, right? But he didn't look bad at Coda. And it looks like they're closer to how they looked at Coda this week because he looked pretty good in practice. And I think that if the car continues to get better throughout the race, that he can contend to win. What do you think about him today?
He worked really hard on the off season on his road course, game because he wasn't very good at it prior, and he's much better now. But we've seen the same old story with Tyler Reddick. He's a qualifying machine. He qualifies really well in a lot of races, and he doesn't finish well. And I think today he's my number one choice of the drivers starting in the top 10 to play the points game versus the win game because he needs the points to separate himself from Amarola and to give himself more cushion. So I fully expect Tyler Reddick to play the stage game.
So you don't think that he's going to have you don't think he has top 5 upside in his car?
I think he has top 5 upside, but I think he's going to take a strategy to where he's going to try to win the first 2 stages and bank in them 20 points, and then rely on his car to get him back into the top 10, top 15, and use those finishing points plus the 20 points he has to have a really good point day.
Yeah. All right. So looking at the outright market, Chase Elliott's plus 350, Larson's plus 550. They were 4 and 6 to 1 after qualifying, basically. Briscoe is third choice at 8 to 1, and Chastain and Cindric are 9 and 10 to 1. One thing I will say about DraftKings this week is they recognized that Toyota doesn't have it this week, and they fixed Busch, Hamlin, Bell's line to 25 to 1, Marty 25 to 1. So I mean, I've seen weeks where they've looked awful in practice and qualifying and still been 7 to 1. So I mean, DraftKings definitely quick on the trigger to fix that, which is not a good sign.
But what else does that tell you that's going to happen?
What?
They're going to be quick on the trigger to go the opposite way too. Real quick.
What do you mean?
To lower the numbers on the cars that are up front.
Oh yeah, but that's been a gradual slide, inevitably.
I don't think it's going to be gradual today. I think it's going to be pretty damn quick, because I think there's cars that are going to separate themselves quickly. Because again, like if you look at this, like the 5th place car is going to be 10 seconds behind.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you saw that yesterday in the betting market for live, even for Xfinity. Like to be fair though, Coop, that's the way it is now. First of all, the days are gone where the car in first place is just slightly in the advantage over what their market value live should be. Now, if you're a favorite, you're taking a 45% haircut immediately off of what the number probably should be, even though you're in first place. And then the car in second place is probably like a 25 to 30% haircut. And then that's when numbers at least attempt to get back to normal. So I don't think that's going to be any different today. But yeah, I think that they'll probably be quicker on the trigger, because a lot of times it's going to take a caution to get you back in the race if the car in first place is really out there. So I mean, I don't disagree.
Do you have any interest in winners?
I haven't got there yet. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking. I've been in NASCAR mode for like 24 hours. So I'm still thinking about it. Maybe the numbers on Elliott and Larson, I think, are a joke. So Chastain at 9 to 1, Briscoe at 8 to 1. We already have Suarez at like 18 to 1. Chris Buescher at 20 to 1, Michael McDowell at 20 to 1. I think that those are pretty solid numbers for those two guys, considering their chances. Looking at the board, considering that I'll tell you right now, considering that we already have Daniel Suarez, it would probably be Briscoe, Chastain, Busher, and McDowell. What do you think about AJ?
I don't know. I'm not worried about his number moving right away. He's starting back in 20th. So,
But what do you think about his car?
it's hard to tell, man. He didn't run very many laps. My concern with AJ is he drives the hell out of these cars. And I think he's one of the drivers that has a higher percentage of something bad happening to it because of how aggressive and how hard he runs these cars. So,
what do you think about the outright market? You see anything other than those four guys?
yeah, I think Briscoe wins today. The guy has a rocket ship. He was fast in all aspects of practice and qualifying. And, he comes on TV and, says, yeah, I'm disappointed, but, I'm disappointed in myself. He was probably blowing some smoke up his ass because, he said he left 0.6 tenths of a second, 6/10 of a second on the track. That's a lot of time, and if he thinks he's that much faster, I think he's blowing smoke up his ass. But is he that much faster? Probably. And, I think that Briscoe is the one that I'm interested in betting right away because I think he's going to get the lead, and that number is going to go down to 400 within the first couple laps.
But if that lead is given up, through cautions or
I don't think they readjust.
It depends on where he drops in the field, but I mean,
I don't think so. Let me you think that if Chase Elliott, what's Chase Elliott's number minus 400?
350 right now.
All right. So you think if he ends up in 27th place, they're going to drop it to plus 800?
No,
they're going to keep that number the same.
No, they're not. They're not gonna drop it to plus 800. But I think that it would at the very least be at the opener at qualifying, which was 4-1, and then maybe if he continues to be there as the race progresses, you'll end up seeing 5-1, 6-1 start to roll on him. It all depends on what the car does.
That number anywhere until third stage, and then that's when he would have to drop in the third stage. They're not going to move that number on him in the first two stages, unless he wrecks or something.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, because chances are that he's going to be in the top one or two. Barring an accident or until they pit. So he's going to be up there. And then if they short pit going in stage one, they are going to just I think that they can put themselves in a position where they're always in a position to be around the front or be the first car with fresh tires for a while in this race. So yeah, from that perspective, I agree.
And it's going to be the same for Briscoe. Briscoe's number is not going to drop either if he gets up front.
But if they're sitting fucking 20th,
if they're sitting 20th with, let's say, 20 laps left, you might get plus 500 or 600.
How many laps are in this race today?
62.
Yeah, so with a third of the race left, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. But
I mean, if you're gonna play Briscoe, I think you got to play him right away because number's going to drop quick.
All right, so then we got Briscoe, Chastain. I think obviously those two guys will have very good cars today.
Chastain, I'm not worried about because he's starting 12th, so it's going to take some time. His number's not going to drop.
Right. Busher and McDowell, given the possibility of their chances based on car. I mean, 20.
I could see both of them dropping to like 14, 15 fairly quickly.
Yeah.
If they hold the 6th to 7th place positions.
Yeah. All right, top fives. Did you see anything, Coop?
No, I mean, the only one that I would consider would be the McDowell and Busher, but those numbers have been cut in half, so I'm not really interested in them right now.
Top tens?
Yeah, there's a couple top tens that interest me on FanDuel. Like obviously,
what's Busher on and McDowell on FanDuel?
125 and 160, I believe. Like they're minus 180, 190 on most other books.
They're both 140 at DK.
Minus 140.
Yeah.
So, and then Keselowski is the one that interests me too at 250.
So who did you say? Keselowski and who?
I mean Busher and McDowell, but.
Oh yeah, I'm not laying minus 140 though. Yeah.
No, you can get them on FanDuel though at plus numbers.
Oh, at plus numbers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that I don't mind.
But yeah, Keselowski I like too for top 10, 250. I don't know if I'm going to play it or not, but
Wow, McDowell's plus 160, huh? Jesus, that is that. Considering the top 10 numbers that we're used to seeing, those top 10 numbers are absurd on those two guys. All right, so manufacturer, Chevy, Ford, Toyota. Chevy minus 140, Ford plus 225. Toyota's just a dead mutt, so it doesn't even matter what their odds are today. Do you see it? Do you think it's bettable? You like Briscoe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would just get on the driver versus that number.
Right. All right. So top Chevy. Oh yeah. So if you watched the show last week, Coop and I nailed pre-race bets pretty well. I picked up 7.2 units. And then you had a few pre-race winners on the show too. No?
Nah, man. Marty put me in the grave, man. A restart.
Oh, let's go back to that for a second. Why did the entirety of the team pit with fucking 3 laps to go?
Don't know. I mean, some people out there say that it was Kyle Busch's decision to pit, and he wasn't supposed to pit. I don't know. There's a lot of confusion. I think is the best way to sum it up.
It was brutal. It was just brutal. I mean, it just put my DFS lineup in the grave. So we hit the Reddick 5-1 or Elliott 5-1 top Chevy, and we hit Chris Bell, I think, in a group, and Chastain top 5. So top Chevy, what do you think here, Coop? What are you liking? Chastain's 5-1, Reddick 7-1, Suarez 12-1, Elliott's obviously 2-1, Larson's plus 320.
I mean, if I was going to bet anybody, it would be Chastain and Suarez. I don't know if I'm there that. Can't do Larson and Elliott, obviously. I don't trust Tyler Reddick. Byron is too far back. Bowman's a wild card who could end up being the top Chevy and bust it off.
Yeah, he has shown up late, man, to make some noise on road courses. That's for sure. Even since I've known you. All right, so top Ford, Briscoe's plus 250, Cindric plus 330, Blaney 7-1, McDowell 7-1, Busher 7-1. I guess I would agree with Briscoe being the favorite and Austin Cindric being second, and then McDowell and Busher are 7-1 value spots.
I can't do anything with that. I mean, there's, again, too many good drivers up there. I mean, I would not be surprised if the race ends, Briscoe first, Cindric second, Busher third, McDowell fourth, in some of that combination.
That's the thing about this week. Last week, it seems so clear which way to go with top manufacturer. This week seems way harder for sure. Top Toyota, I mean, who even cares? Do you? Who do you like?
Well, I put my obligatory anytime Bubba Wallace is plus 10,000. I mean, I'm not stupid.
Where are you getting 100 to 1?
I did that. That's earlier in the week. The best you can get now is 50 to 1. I do it every time. I don't care.
So,
I mean,
you know what?
It's
gonna happen.
One of these times it's gonna hit.
Yeah, 1 out of 100 times it's gonna happen. Definitely. Yeah. Coop's on the Bubba Wallace Top Toyota system play. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody settle down. Driver props. You see anything in matchups that you liked?
I mean, how could you pass up? Alex Bowman at minus 550 against Coy LaJoie.
What is that, a featured matchup?
Yeah, on MGM. So, no, I bet one earlier this week. I put it in Discord, Suarez plus 110 over Kyle Busch. I think they're both minus 110 now. But other than that, when I looked earlier, let me double check. I did not see any others that appealed to me. They have a lot of the Toyotas going against each other, which is smart on their end.
Yeah, they're on it.
Happen to be.
They're on it this week. The sports books for sure.
Suarez is minus 120 now.
What do you think about Ross Chastain plus 110 against Kyle Larson?
I don't mind that, but I could see Larson finishing 5th and Chastain 6th.
Yeah,
or something in that ballpark.
And Larson's plus 120 against Elliott.
I think I would be more apt to take my chances on that versus the other one. I don't know. I'm not going to play either one, but.
Wow, Ross Chastain is 3.5 to 1 in Group A to beat Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. Considering the fact that he's got to beat those 3 drivers, and that's like half the price of what he needs, what his odds are basically to win the race. That's actually not awful.
Yeah, but did you see Kyle Busch's number?
Plus 850? Oh my God. That, you know what, Coop? The group one thing that's happened recently are the group numbers are changing a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I got on Group B earlier this week at Blaney at 250 and Cindric at 300 to beat Truex and Hamlin. So
that's a good bet. If you lose that, I think something went wrong in the race. Suarez plus 250 against Bell, Allmendinger, and Logano. And then the final group, Briscoe, Reddick, Bowman, Byron. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Reddick this week.
I don't have any stage props. I just have the same driver to win the stages. So
I don't have any stage props either, but what do you think about that? It's so hard to bet it knowing that they're going to go in before stage one ends, probably.
Yeah, I think the first two that stick out would be Reddick. I think he stays out, and I think Chris Bell stays out.
And where are they on the grid?
Reddick's like in 4th, Bell's in 16th.
That's not bad, man, Coop. If you really think that that's the way he's going to go and he's going to play that game, he probably. You think he stays out?
Reddick, I think Reddick stays out.
What his odds
I think
are?
Bell stays out too.
His odds are going to be like pretty good to win stage one, because Elliott, Briscoe, and Larson are probably go in, right?
Yeah, I would think you could probably get him at 8 or 9.
Yeah. If you really think that's how it's going to go down, that's Bet365 has it already. Let me check. Let's see what we got. He's 10-1. Stage one. Bell's 33-1.
The only thing with Bell, I mean, he's starting farther back, so I mean, there's a lot more cars that would have to pit.
Right.
But I mean, like if you look at it, McDowell and Busher, like points don't matter to them. They need to win. And then Bowman, kind of a wild card. I mean, Bowman could be one that stays out too. I don't know.
Yeah, he's 16-1.
Bowman could stay out. I don't think Keselowski stays out because, I mean, he's so far behind in points it really doesn't matter. He needs a win. Chastain, I think he races for the win. But the thing with Bell, like, you know, can Bell get in front of Marty and can Bell get in front of Hamlin? Because I think all of Toyota's going to stay out.
But the odds are
Bowman's number?
The odds 16-1. The odds are bad though. I would have to say, Coop, that if we don't see a ton of cautions, that they're going to catch Reddick.
True. That's very true.
I think that's the play. If you really think that he's going to stay out.
Well, I think you got to put somebody else in your pistol, man, because I mean he very well could easily
fucking Coop. Fucking Coop wants to just drag into the deep waters by the end of stage one.
So I mean, it's like you said, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's hard. It is. It's hard to figure, especially at this stage in the season.
Right. So, but I mean, I feel pretty confident that, like, I don't know. I mean, freaking, you've seen Larson and Elliott do some boneheaded moves, and they've stayed out to get some pit points too, man. Stage points, not pit points. So, you know, I mean, I don't know. But I do think, you know, if I was betting it would be Reddick, Bowman, and Bell.
Ross Chastain they have stage one matchups, but they're all like minus 115, minus 120.
Because I mean, the other piece too is like, you know, like if let's say Briscoe, Larson, and Elliott just go out and smoke, you know, the field, and they're like 5 seconds ahead of the 4th place driver, and that becomes Tyler Reddick. And Reddick's like, man, they're freaking killing me. There ain't no way I'm going to compete with these dogs today. I need to stay out, you know?
That could definitely take place too.
Right. And or it could just be, hey, you know, Reddick's like, hey, my car's not that great, and he's falling back to 6th or 7th place. And Bowman's car isn't that great either, and he's falling back to 9th or 10th. And Bell just hasn't had enough to get up there to beat him. You know, I mean, a lot of it just depends upon how they feel with their car in those first, 10 laps too.
Yeah.
I mean, freaking Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson could drop back and be like, shit, my car's horrible. This isn't what because if you remember at Sonoma, I think Martin Truex and not Martin Truex, but Kyle Busch and somebody else practiced very, very well. And their car was just absolute crap during the race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you never know. It's betting, man.
Yeah.
But the numbers allow you to take more chances and still make some good money.
You're preaching to the choir, bro.
So.
All right. So as far as plays that we're going to give out, man, I think this week is pretty fucking tough.
That's because we missed all the good shit, man. We were sleeping.
Yeah, I was so deep in the UFC 276. It was disgusting this week.
But you got to remember this too, man. I know you love UFC and all that, but what you gained on UFC, very little compared to what you could have gained here.
You know what, Coop? I could wake up on a Sunday morning and make 10 units in NASCAR and not look at a fucking thing all week, bro. I've been doing it for 5 years now. So like, it's just off the live number alone, I could probably do it. I only do the research to try to get better numbers during the week. But sometimes, like on the biggest pay-per-view card of the year, there's just nothing I can do. I gotta be all in on that card to try to make people money. I know that we'll get the job done in NASCAR for these people anyway. We do it every week. I think the only thing that I would feel comfortable giving out on this show would probably be like a top 10 on FanDuel.
I mean, if I play any more bets, that's what it'll be. Because, I mean, I feel good about Suarez over Kyle Busch, and then obviously the group bet that I had. So if I had anything else, it would be the FanDuel top 10 of McDowell, Busher, and Kozlowski. And I don't mind Cole Custer either. I think his number is 310.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chris Buescher top 10 at plus 125 as the show play. But I'll probably have money on both of those. And Coop and I already have Daniel Suarez at 18-1 to win the race. As to our subscribers, if we get on anything pre-race in terms of like outrights, we'll throw it in the Discord, and I'll probably throw it on the spreadsheet as well. So aside from that, I mean, we'll just bet the race live on the live show. So at 1:00, Coop and I are going to be over on the DFS side doing the DFS show. Coop breaking down the whole playbook. And it'll just be me and him. I think JJ is out going to a barbecue, so we'll hold it down until he gets back next week. And aside from that, man, whatever you guys bet this weekend, hope your action runs pure, and we'll see you in about an hour over on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. Later.